Alright, everybody, what's up? It's Big Hot Rod and L Train coming at y'all. Man, it's the T Train show. Y'all know what time it is, man. What up, T? What up? Hot Rod, what up? L Train, y'all know what time it is, man. It's the Three the Hard Way. Three the Hard Way. Cleveland's finest, y'all. The biggest and the baddest sports show.
Welcome to another edition of Three the Hard Way. I'm your host, Myles Jones, and of course, before we get started, we got a lot to talk about. I got to introduce my fellas along with a special guest today, but we'll wait till the end for the special guest. The first person, as I always introduce each week, is the influencer, Mr. Hot Rod, Rodney Young. What's going on, Hot Rod?
What's happening, Three the Hard Way Nation? Y'all know who this is. It's your friendly neighborhood coach. And as I always say, you may not like what I say, but you will listen.
And right next to me as well is the captain of our ship, Mr. Terrence Austin T. What's the deal, T?
What's happening, family, and what's happening, everyone out there in Three the Hard Way Nation, TikTok, Airways, what's happening, Let's get this ship underway. Let's get it rolling.
And your eyes may be deceiving you a little bit, for all you old Cleveland Cavalier vintage fans, this is not Campy Russell on the show with us today. This is my big brother, big bro we're going to call him, big bro Campy, Mr. Greg Jones. Greg, what's going on, man? Welcome to Three the Hard Way.
Oh, man, nothing much, man. I just want to thank you guys for blessing me to have me on the show today. And let's get it going.
As always. Okay, fellas, listen, man, all the introductions are done. We got a lot to talk about, and everybody wants to talk about these Cleveland Browns, man. If you look at the score yesterday, the Cleveland Browns lost 17-16 to the Cincinnati Bengals. But here's the deal. The Browns statistically dominated that game, 327 yards to 141 yards, held the ball for nearly 36 minutes in that game. Joe Flacco proved that he's QB1, played a pretty good game, had 2 interceptions, but both interceptions, I think you probably could blame those on the wide receivers for not catching the ball. Had a little bit of field goal trouble with Szmyt, 2 missed field goals. So there's a lot of intangible stuff that went on during that game that prevented the Cleveland Browns from winning. So let's dive into it. Let's dissect it. Let's just go around the horn. Give me your thoughts about the game in general yesterday, fellas.
Okay, you gave out all the numbers, L Train. What is significant for me, I tell you, in the second half, we held that team to 7 net total yards in the second half, okay? Held that team, at bay with that powerful quarterback, Joe Burrow, okay? Our defense showed up. Outside of the very first drive that the Bengals put together and scored on us, hey, the Browns defense showed up and played and balled. Schlesinger, man, he was a beast on the field. All the rookies showed up, okay? All the rookies showed up. Those 2 interceptions were the receiver's fault, rubber hands. That's what I call them, rubber hands. And unfortunately, the 2 missed kicks. First, the extra point and the 30-plus yard chip shot field goal. You got to make those. You cannot leave points on the board, when you're playing against a team like that. But other than that, other than the sheer disappointment of the loss, hey, the Browns showed up and played. They showed up and played, and they fought. They gave it their all. It kind of reminded me of the Cowboys the other night against the Eagles. The Cowboys gave the Eagles all they had, okay?
Yep.
So, again, our boys showed up. They just came up a point, shy. Man, disappointed, but I like what I saw. And so that's my take. That's what my take. And I expect them to fight next week just north of here where I am in Baltimore. They're going to give those guys a run for their money, okay? The Browns are ready. I love what I saw. So go ahead, Rod.
Yeah, I'm not extremely disappointed. I think defensively they showed a lot. Greg Newsome, who I've always been critical of, did a pretty good job. He had one PI on him, but other than that, they tried to throw Chase over to his side, and he held his ground. When they threw Jamar Chase over on Denzel Ward's side, it was lockdown city. He knew he couldn't. He gave up on routes because he knew Denzel was there. Myles Garrett has Cincinnati's number because there was a series where he looked like Superman. He came off, and don't get me wrong, the rookie from Michigan did a pretty good job. Okay, see, a lot of folks and I'm listening to a lot of people. Well, he really didn't do much. He's a one gap player. He's that player where he's gonna get double teamed. So rookie season, first game, yeah, expected some jitters, but we almost got a safety because of Mason Graham in the second half because he closed the pocket the way he did. Dylan Sampson, I'm done with Jerome Ford. The Jerome Ford experiment is over with. Dylan Sampson, I like Sampson. He showed a lot of fight. Of course, Quinshon Junkins will be back, so I'm done with the Ford experiment. Joe Flacco managed the game. He did a great job. That one touchdown pass to Cedric Tillman couldn't no rookie throw that one. That was a pro style touchdown pass. He threw Cedric Tillman open. If I am disappointed in anybody, it's Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy is the number one receiver on this team. These balls, and the fourth down one was probably the most critical. That ball hit him right in the hands. You have to catch that.
Right in the hands, Hot Rod.
Okay? You have to catch that. And then listening to his press conference afterwards, it was a lot of excuse making. Oh, that's just what it is. No, it's not what it is. You're paid to be a number one receiver, so take the responsibility. Rookie-wise, Schlesinger was second half. He was all over the place.
Yeah, he was.
Harold Fannin Jr. is going to be a problem.
Yep, he sure is.
He is going to be a problem.
He sure is.
All right. He got the most catches as a rookie, a tight end, in NFL history yesterday. Why? Because that young man knows how to get himself open. Okay. So he's going to be a problem. So what I'm saying is, the Browns let this slip away. We can talk about the kicker all we want. They've never really gotten a kicker. But I'm optimistic because of how they played. They held time of possession that Joe Burrow could not see the field. They had one possession was like 9 minutes. So they have the formula. All right. They just got to clean up some things. But I'm very optimistic. But is this a game they should have won? Absolutely. This is a game they should have won. What you got, Big Bro?
I know when I'm watching the Ohio State Buckeyes, the Cleveland Browns, or the Minnesota Vikings, and my phone buzzes, I know it's Big Bro Greg calling with some of his takes. So, Greg, watching that game yesterday, what are your thoughts about the Cleveland Browns, some of the things that you saw?
Well, I'll just kind of go back to, just to piggyback off of what Hot Rod said, and I just kind of go back to last season a little bit, how Cleveland got themselves in trouble. And it was a world of difference from last year to this year, because the time of possession was actually key, because that gave the defense time to rest. Last year, the defense was on the field 80% of the time. With 3 and outs, 3 and outs, 3 and outs. The defense never got a chance to rest. So you can see the key difference from time of possession. Those young men on the defensive side of the ball had a lot of chance to rest and gather themselves.
Great point.
Yep. For sure. And it's a big difference in the team. I think that's what kind of, T was hitting about, Hot Rod was hitting about. The one thing about the Cleveland Browns, man, it's those situations. I thought overall they played a lot better game than I thought that they were going to play. I just thought in key moments when they had the hammer, like players just lost focus. It's like when they were driving downfield right after a big play, you had a holding penalty on Jones or just key moments of just losing that focus. I know that a lot of venom is going to go on the field goal kicker. I was listening to a lot of content creators for the Cleveland Browns, and surprisingly, man, I was hearing people that want the Browns to cut this kid. And I understand the emotion of it. I really, really do. But this is kind of the kid's resume. I mean, he was a Lou Groza Award winner, which is given to the nation's top kicker. He was a unanimous All-American in college. He won the Vlad Award for accuracy in college. And so he didn't show up yesterday. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not happy with his performance. But after one game, like his first NFL experience under the lights, do you actually pull the plug on a kid like this that has a resume like he has? And this isn't the first Cleveland Brown kicker that hasn't really come through. Who else is out there that you're going to go get? Like, I would give this kid another couple of games. Obviously, you're not happy, but where do you guys stand on the field goal kicker? I've been surprised to hear the venom of getting rid of him this morning when I woke up.
That was me giving him the venom at this morning when you woke up. Like I say, Szmyt him out of here. Szmyt him out of here. But you're right. Oh man, we can't act off of emotion. We can't. However, going forward, L Train and fellas, do we trust this guy going forward? Next week in Baltimore, do we trust him? So I think what they have to do, they need to, right now as we're shooting this podcast, hopefully there's guys out there trying out, trying to get that job. Somebody's looking at them because, again, next week if we're in a similar position, man, I'll be cringing. We'll all be cringing, when this guy takes the field. But you said something that's key. It's just one game. This kid has a heck of a resume. We've all had bad days, in our field of expertise. So again, I don't trust him going forward, but do we act off of emotion? I don't know. What'd you say, Rod?
I'm gonna give him at least 3 games. So you see what he did yesterday. We're gonna give him the Baltimore Ravens game, and then I think it's Green Bay after that. If he's still producing the way he's producing after the first 3 games, then he's done. His sample size is gonna be really short. Now, this is his first NFL game in front of that kind of crowd. That stadium is different. Okay, I'm not gonna let him off the hook because you got to make that extra point. That's a chip shot. Okay, you got to got to at least make one of the two. Okay, but to say that you're gonna cut him right after the game, that makes no sense because even the free agent kickers that are out here used to be Browns kickers. They're not going after Justin Tucker because he's already been disciplined by the league. They're not going to pull the Justin Tucker. Okay. So all the other free agent kickers that are out here right now were former Browns. Okay. So they stuck with what they have. Now, you'll know if Kevin Stefanski loses confidence in the kicker is when they score and they go for 2.
Oh, yeah.
That's when you'll know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right.
Thoughts about the kicker, Greg?
Well, I think, L Train, I kind of agree with you. And Hot Rod, I'll give the kid a couple of more games to kind of see if he could snap out of it. Maybe he had the first game jitters. You never know. But just to cut him right after the game, no, that's no good. That's no good. That's not being, a professional, type of organization going forward. So I'll give the guy a couple of more games. Like you said, up until like the Green Bay game, if he can't produce, then of course changes have to be made.
Yeah. I look at, where most of my venom goes, and people know I'm pretty highly critical of the Cleveland Browns because I'm exhausted by some of the things that I see from time to time. The wide receivers yesterday, man. The guys that are in the contract negotiations talking about, hey, I'm wide receiver 1. This is the bag that I need to get to play for you.
Yeah.
Like Joe Flacco threw some dimes yesterday. I was not that I was surprised, T. Not that I was surprised,
right.
But Joe Flacco gave me a level of comfort. He managed the game.
Yeah,
that's the term that people like to use. But man, he just made really, really good decisions. Like he just made great decisions. He knew where to go with the ball. You could tell he had a handle on the offense. In those key moments, Joe Flacco tried to come through and make plays, man. The wide receivers just couldn't
rubber hands.
Just couldn't bring the ball in. Like, what do we do at the wide receiver spot? Is this something that's going to be, consistent with them dropping balls? Jared Jeudy has a history of having rubber hands, and not drop and dropping balls. Like, do we get better there? Is there something that we need to do with the wide receiver?
I'm not really concerned there. It was
Okay.
just one of those days. It was just one of those days, unfortunately. I don't know if it was the glare from from the sun or just overexcitement. Being down on that field, Rod knows more than any of us, what it's like being down on that field.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give him a pass. I'm going to give him a pass because, they dropped some and they caught some too. They just dropped them at the wrong time, yesterday. Okay. And I feel that they'll make up for it. So I have no concern with the wide receivers going forward. None whatsoever. None whatsoever.
And so for me, I also have to understand this is that, that's the life of a wide receiver. You win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so we can be critical of Cedric Tillman. He dropped the ball to turn into an INT, but he also caught a beautiful ball in the end zone.
Yes, he did.
Okay. You know what I'm saying? Harold Fannin Jr., he dropped one. Okay. And but here's what gets me is I want to listen to them after the game. And Harold Fannin Jr. couldn't say anything else but about that ball that he dropped. He was so disappointed that he dropped that ball.
There you go.
That's a winning football player right there.
Yep,
That's a guy that wants to win. And so he said he was so disappointed.
Yeah,
he had a great
Yeah, he
game,
was.
but he was so disappointed that he dropped that one ball. Conversely, when you look at Jerry Jeudy gave you the, okay, yeah, I dropped it, no big deal. Okay. And we talked about this on a previous show. We talked about culture. Okay. What Harold Fannin Jr. did, that came from a winning culture. Okay. Well, he didn't look at all the great plays he made. He looked at the one play that he didn't make.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And that is the difference. Now, to to T's point, you got Jamari Thrash, who's going to be coming. You got the young kid from Texas that they got coming up. They got some receivers coming up, so some speed. And like I said, watching Dylan Sampson yesterday and how they ran with him out of the backfield, swing passes out of the backfield, making people miss. When him and Quinshon Judkins get together, that's gonna be a problem. That's gonna be a problem. So I'm not really worried about it. I like that Joe has commanded the offense. He threw the ball away when he needed to. There was even a time where he didn't want to lose the field goal, and he took a sack. He played like a veteran yesterday. They even had him do a quarterback sneak at 41 years old.
He sure did. Yeah, got the first time.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure
So
did. Yeah.
I like what I'm seeing, and I'm hopeful that they'll continue it. That's why people listening, and they look at me like, how is this team going to win 10 games? If they play the way that they did and cleaned up the mistakes that they did against Cincinnati, because I did count Cincinnati, so that means they're going to have to win one that they not supposed to win. But I'm optimistic but it all starts with Joe Flacco. As long as Flacco is upright and going, he's going to be fine. Dawand Jones, he had some penalties yesterday, but this was his first time at left tackle.
Yeah.
Okay.
And going up against Hendrickson. Going up against Hendrickson, that beast.
Yeah. He's got a
So I give him a pass.
He got a couple holding penalties that when I looked at it wasn't holding. Hendrickson is selling it because he couldn't get by him. So, but I'm optimistic.
Yeah, listen, man. I know my big bro grew up watching Ricky Feature, and a matter of fact, Webster Slaughter. I don't know if you guys saw. Webster Slaughter was in the stands watching the game.
Yeah,
after he married a couple. After he married somebody. Yeah, after he married somebody.
Yeah. So Webster Slaughter, Reggie Langhorne, all those guys. So I know my big bro has a eye for wide receiving. What are your thoughts about the drops, Greg, the wide receivers yesterday, and how they played?
Well, I'm not too concerned. I'm not too concerned about this play right now, but in theory, if the ball hits you in the hands, you have to catch the ball.
Come on.
But
come on.
But just going back to the way a preseason and things are now, these guys don't really get a lot of reps until the season starts. So a lot of them
That's
don't
a good point.
play.
Great point.
A lot of them do not play to get that game speed up, because there's a difference from game speed from preseason to the very first game. So I don't really say that there's a problem there. I just think they just have to get adjusted to the speed and just get adjusted to actually playing football now, for 4 quarters.
Greg's 100% right. 100% right.
Great point. Because a lot of wide receiving, and Rod, you know this, your coach as well. A wide receiver, a lot of timing with the quarterback, on the routes and stuff like that. These guys are not getting hit as much in practice. The one thing that surprised me, we talked about a couple weeks ago, fellas, the K-balls. And now that the kickers have the opportunity to break in their balls like a couple of weeks before the game, and I saw a lot of misses this weekend, not only from the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, Szmyt wasn't the only bum this weekend. He wasn't the only one. Yeah, he wasn't. There was quite a few misses.
There are a lot of misses, and I think the NFL and the kickers are a little bit surprised like that. I will tell you this. I know who wasn't a bum yesterday. Someone that I have been critical of, Mr. Myles Garrett, man. Myles Garrett and that defensive line in the second half
showed up.
I mean, you talk about the name dogs. Those guys were some dogs.
Yeah, they were.
Especially in the second half of that game. More specifically, Myles Garrett. I mean, there was a point in time during that game where Myles Garrett just completely took it over. And I know, there's been a lot of people out there that's been critical of the money that he got, wanting to force his way out of Cleveland in terms of getting a trade. Man, Myles Garrett brought it yesterday.
Yes, sir.
He sure did. He may be fast on the highway and going down Interstate 90, but he turned it up yesterday on the field. He sure did. Yep, sure did. And he's going to do it again next week in Baltimore. He's going to do the same thing.
I believe that. I believe that.
Same thing.
He took the game over, but that defensive line was really good. Especially in the second half yesterday. You're talking Isaiah McGuire, Mason Graham, Myles Garrett. They took the game over. That, like I said, that one series, especially and it wasn't even the 2 sacks that he had on Joe Burrow. It was the one where he went on. It's called a tech stunt, and what he did was he started outside and he just looped right back into the inside, and Joe Burrow did not have a clue. And he lit Joe Burrow up.
Didn't see it coming.
Myles Garrett is the best defensive lineman, best defensive end in the game, period. Just as big and as fast as he is. I'm not, we talked about the leadership side of it. We know that that's not what he is. But he leads by example. When he's on the field, he's giving 150%. And so what I'm saying is, I think as this defensive line matures, because I'm really high on Isaiah McGuire. I really am on the other side. I think this is going to be the biggest complimentary piece of Myles Garrett's career. And so I'm looking forward, I'm looking forward to the young kid from Ohio State when he gets healthy, because you got him and Graham inside. You just got some young horses with the old dog on the outside. I really see it. And so, and the secondary was pretty good. Like I said, Jim Schwartz has figured it out again, and these guys is coming. All the offense has to do is be complimentary, and they'll win games.
Consistent.
Yeah. You mentioned the secondary. Hi, Rod, you just mentioned the secondary. I want to piggyback off that before I throw it to Greg real quick. Like, we're not talking about Hanford Dixon and Frank Minifield, but Newsome and Ward balled out yesterday, because you're talking about Jamar Chase, who in many annals right now is being touted as the best wide receiver in the league. Like, you couldn't even remember a really big play that Jamar Chase made yesterday. And I'm going to throw my Minnesota Viking plug in here. Everybody's saying he's better than Justin Jefferson. Man, give me a break.
You don't think so, L-Train?
I don't even want to hear that debate no more. But that's not taking anything away from the Cleveland Browns secondary. I thought they did a really good job against 2 legit wide receivers and a legit quarterback, a top 5 quarterback in this league. So I thought the Cleveland Browns defense came to play yesterday. I was really, really pleased with that.
There you go.
Big brother, what you think?
Well, I'll agree with everybody. And I said, and I'll say it again, the key to the Browns defense, the Browns came out aggressive. They showed their ability. Like I said, but the key to their Browns defense, they've been good for the last couple of years. It's just the amount of rest that they can get. They didn't have to stay on the field a long time, so they was always in attack mode. They were always playing in attack mode. So, and I think that's the key. So, going back to what Hot Rod said, if the offense can just stay complimentary, that's going to be a tough defense to play against anybody in the league.
And not Yeah. And outside of that first drive, they didn't give up the big play, okay? And
Yep.
that's one thing they have to minimize. And that goes back to what Greg is saying, them being in sync with the offense and not getting too tired and worn out. So that is key. Yeah, balance is key for them going forward. Yep.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I thought T a couple weeks ago, we were talking about the Cleveland Browns. T made a really good point on terms of Kevin Stefanski's acumen and being a really good coach in this league. I thought he prepared the team well.
Yeah.
And I thought he called a good game
He
yesterday on the
called a great
offensive
game.
side.
He called a great
Oh
game.
man.
Yeah. Yeah. He was
Really,
not the
really good.
reason we lost yesterday. The
No.
coach was not the reason we
No.
lost.
No, no.
That fourth down that Jerry Jeudy dropped, that
Yeah.
was a scheme. He schemed him
Yeah.
open, and he
Sure
was
did.
wide open and could have ran for days. So no. As much as we pile on Kevin Stefanski, this was not a Kevin Stefanski L. He did everything possible to win that game. This was some players did not execute what he was throwing out there.
Yeah. How do you keep the one thing I worry about, because I always worry about this as a coach, and I think it's really important. Like, the university I took over really had no tradition in women's basketball. They weren't winning a lot. And so those wins are keys. And some of the things that can really destroy a locker room or send things going south is when you have games, fellas, that you're supposed to win. You do all the stuff, you outgain them, you outplay them. The scheme is great, and then you lose that game.
Yeah.
And going back into that locker room, you've got some people in the locker room today that's saying, oh man, here we go again.
Here we go.
How do you stop that domino effect,
Yeah.
from permeating throughout the locker room?
Yeah, and that's going to be kind of tough because you don't have an adult in the room like Nick Chubb, okay? You don't have him there anymore. So this is where I don't know. The coaching staff is going to have to really, really hone in and how would I put it? Tell those guys, hey, next game up. Have a short memory. Don't worry about it. You left it out there. You played well. Again, you fought. So let's just go on. It's on to Baltimore. But I hear you, when you don't have, that veteran in the room. But, hey, maybe Myles, this was Myles's opportunity. Maybe he'll say something, Myles and a few of the other veterans that are in there, some of those offensive linemen, Joe Flacco himself, will say something. Hey, guys, on to Baltimore. We gave it all. We left it on the field. Let's have a short memory and move forward. But I understand, L Train, what you're saying, because that is concerning, when you don't have that Ray Lewis in the locker room, when you don't have that, that Michael Irvin, that guy, that veteran in there, that Tom Darden, Frank Mayfield. We don't have those guys. So I get you.
And for me, and I only coached high school football, and so I look at it as, when I bring the team together, depending on how many games we have, normally it's like 10 games, I would tell the team, look, we got 9 more. We can't, we don't get too high on wins. We don't get too low on losses. We have to understand that there's going to be improvement in everything that we do. And so we got to get to film. We got to see what we did wrong, because I'm sure there were other opportunities that they had that they did not capitalize on. And I just say, hey, all right, we can't worry about it. It's done. Now we need to focus, on Baltimore, because Baltimore ain't going to come in here and feel sorry for us. Baltimore's not, they're not going to feel sorry for us. They're going to try to blow us out the water. So you guys need to focus up. And here's the thing. The Browns play Baltimore and Cincinnati really well.
They do.
If you look at how they've played Baltimore over the past couple of years, they play the Ravens really well.
Yeah,
They keep Lamar Jackson in the pocket. They make him a pocket passer. So like I said, I'm looking forward to the challenge. Let's see how they pick themselves up off the ground, because either you're going to be 1-1 or you're going to be 0-2 going into Green Bay. That's simple right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next week is a must win. And I think it's a win we could get. We beat Baltimore last year, That was the time when, Deshaun Watson went 10 for 10 in the second half, and we got those guys. And then only 3 days later, that's when his shoulder went out, So, hey, we can get them. Yeah, we can get them.
Greg, you're the head coach of the Cleveland Browns right now, man, and you're walking into the locker room for your first practice of the week. Like, how do you galvanize these guys to get ready for next Sunday in the Baltimore Ravens?
Well, see, that's what you call when everybody uses the word culture. That's the time when you have to build your culture of your team. You have a young team, young secondary, and whatnot. This is the time where you want to see which one of your players is going to step up. If Myles Garrett can step up, or someone else can step up, that's called building the culture, of your team to see where they're at.
Yeah, and it's not just on the players. That's a good point because I preach that to my teams all the time. Like, this can't be the Coach Jones show, even though I probably have the last executive decision to be made within our program. But it's got to be everybody's program, from the assistant
Right.
coaches on down to the managers. That's what it has to be. So it's a good point. When you look at the monster that we saw last night with the Baltimore Ravens and the Bills, that's already a classic game. That was one of the best football games I've seen in a long time. But what you see what Baltimore can do offensively, like how do we stop that train coming down the tracks against the Cleveland Browns defense? What do we do to win that game next week?
Man. Go
Because
ahead,
Lamar
Rod.
Jackson is the ultimate X factor.
Yeah, and they got so many weapons. They got so many weapons. Go ahead, Rod. They got so many weapons.
We know that the spoon that stirs the drink in Baltimore is Lamar Jackson.
Yes, sir.
We know what Lamar Jackson can do. With Lamar Jackson, he's actually a second running back, that can come out of the backfield, but he has the ability to throw. What the Browns have done against the Ravens is probably not going to change. They're going to come out, they're going to load the box to stop the run game. And they feel like they have the cover corners to be able to cover Zay Flowers and that receiving core. So what they're going to do is they're going to put pressure on Lamar, but they're going to put pressure on him intelligently. They're not going to be running crazy lanes. They're going to keep him inside, okay? Because as it's been proven, Lamar, when he's pressured, is not an accurate quarterback when he's pressured, okay? And if he cannot get out of there and run, he's even more damaged. So the Browns, and Myles is smart enough, he understands how to rush him. Okay, he understands that he doesn't go crazy after him because he knows Lamar has an ability to escape. The key is going to be on the interior alignment, Mason Graham and whoever, if it's Shelby Harris, one of those guys. They got to keep the middle clogged. That way Lamar can't skirt up out of there. But their game plan is not going to change. They're going to try to control time. First of all, this is Joe Flacco's first time back in Baltimore as a Browns quarterback. So you think Joe ain't got nothing on his shoulders right now? You think there's not a little bit of motivation in Joe this week?
Sure yeah.
If Joe can beat his former team, I see that. So it's gonna be a lot of cleaning up that's gonna have to happen. But I believe, it's like everybody has said, who is gonna be the adult in the room? Okay, that we need adults now. We need guys that's gonna say, all right, we got to get this fixed. We got to get it done. And, I always said this. Yeah, I've always said this. If your head coach is the leader, something's wrong.
Yep.
Something's wrong.
Yep.
You have to have guys inside that locker room that can lead. Okay? If your head coach is the leader of the entire team, then something is amiss.
What's your thoughts, Greg?
Seeing what we would call that, I would call that the buy-in. You have to get those guys to buy in, to what you're doing. To what your game plan is, how you want things done, how aggressive you want to be. That's called the buy-in.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
When you look at the Browns and you look at the Baltimore Ravens, I think what I heard Hot Rod just say in terms of time of possession, you can, when you win that time of possession, it actually hurts teams like the Baltimore Ravens. They don't get a whole lot of bites at the apple. My question to piggyback off that, and I'm interested to hear all three of you guys' opinion, and it's only one game, and I know we saw some flashes of something really good, but is the Cleveland Browns running game right now currently constructed, that interior offensive line, are we good enough to go into week 2 right now? Because ball control, man, time of possession is being able to run the football consistently. We got Judkins that's still working his way back in, and we weren't really consistent running the ball yesterday. We showed flashes.
Right.
We showed flashes, but we really weren't consistent.
Yeah.
How do we look at that playing a part going into week 2
Yeah,
against
it,
the
it
Ravens?
it will start if Junkins plays next weekend, which he's
Yeah.
supposed to. Now, how ready will he be? Just like Greg was talking about how the wide receivers didn't get much play, during the preseason, and it showed on the field yesterday. So I think the same thing with Quinshawn. We're just going to have to be patient with him, okay? We have to be patient. But it's an improvement, and we'll be going in the right direction if he plays next week, which they're saying that he is going to play. So I don't expect him to rush for, 100 yards next week, but having him back there and, getting him, some touches and some reps, getting him going, getting him acclimated will help going forward. Maybe by the time, week 3, week 4, when we play you all, across the water, he'll be ready. So it's a start. It's a start.
So with Junkins coming back in, you got to look at how the Kevin Stefanski offense is run. You'll get a lot of 2 tight ends, and they run a lot of old school Denver Broncos stretch. That's not really hard for Quinshawn Junkins to pick up. I mean, he ran a
Okay.
little bit of that at Ohio State,
Yep.
Southern Miss. He ran a little bit of that. So really what it is and what made Nick Chubb so great is even with those stretch plays, Nick Chubb knew where the gaps were. Sometimes he would go where the linemen were going, and sometimes he cut back offside of the lineman because that's where the gap is. So Quinshawn is going to be on a pitch count. He's not going to be doing a whole lot of running. Like I said, Dylan Sampson is going to get, I think he'll get the bulk of the carries. And he's a little dude, which means somebody like Dawand Jones, he's going to get lost
Yeah.
behind him.
Right.
This offensive line is not built to block straight on. This offensive line, because they're veterans, are built to block in space, to move in space. Batonio and Wyatt Teller, those guys are meant to block in space. So see a little bit more stretch plays coming, especially with Quinshawn. And so I don't think they're not going to come in and run for 100 yards, but they got to be somewhat serviceable for that play action to take place.
Yep. Yep. Thoughts on the running game, big bro?
Well, I think the scheme with anybody coming in to play Cleveland now that Junkins has signed and able to play is going to change a lot of defensive schemes going forward with the Browns. If Junkins is is good is if they say, what I'm saying, that's going to create a lot of problems, for a defensive end on the team. That's also going to help, Cleveland with the time management, being able to run that ball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think overall, man, when you look at the Browns, I know there are a lot of people upset with the way the Browns lost, but I agree with you guys, man. It's watching the game fully yesterday. It's hard for me to be displeased.
Right.
Just all in on the Browns being terrible or awful or whatever adjective you want to attach to the Cleveland Browns. I thought they played a good game. I thought a couple of players didn't make key plays that attributed to the loss, but for all intents and purposes, it should have been a win for the Cleveland Browns. So that is something to take into next week. This is a football team that I think is going to compete. They just got to keep a positive will in that locker room and not let these type of losses get to them. But let's jump around the league for a little bit, because there were some things that were some surprises to people, and there were some things that were not really surprises to me. I want to start with the Pittsburgh Steelers Jets game. Listen to me, man. Justin Fields, I've watched a lot of Justin Fields games since he's entered the NFL. And this is what Justin Fields hadn't looked any better than what he looked yesterday with the New York Jets. Keep in mind, his quarterback or passing coach was the coach for the Detroit Lions last year.
Right.
And you can see it. Everything had a RPO look. Everything had a play action pass look. They incorporated the run. They gave him some easy throws. I think Justin Fields is a lot more accurate than people give him credit for.
Yeah.
At least he was at Ohio State.
Yeah,
and this was the best version of Justin Fields that I had seen in a long time. And then on the other side of the ball, people said Aaron Rodgers was washed up. And I'm going at some of the Minnesota Viking fans here, because I was the one that said Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah with the Minnesota Vikings should at least sit down and have a conversation with Aaron Rodgers because he's one of the best throwers of the football that I've ever seen. Now, of course, he comes with a lot of baggage, but Aaron Rodgers yesterday, if you watch the game, played a really good football game. Not elite, but he threw for 4 touchdowns, threw for about, 250, 260 or whatever it was. But that's the best quarterbacking that I had seen for the Pittsburgh Steelers since Ben Roethlisberger. There hasn't been a Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback that has thrown for 4 touchdowns since 2018 and Ben Roethlisberger. Aaron Rodgers makes them a lot better.
He sure did, and he talked trash at the end of the game to the Jets fans and to the Jets organization. Yeah, how would I put it? Our kicker can't even, make a chip shot / extra point, and the Steelers won it, on a long field goal. Just the Steelers' way. And when they pulled it out, I kept thinking of Hot Rod because Hot Rod has warned us. Hot Rod has told us that Steeler team is going to be pretty dang good. And yesterday, they showed up and took care of business. They did. And, hey, I just had to drop my head, especially after the way we lost. But it's still early. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers, he showed, hey, I still got it. And on the other hand, Justin Fields, he quieted a lot of the critics because, again, nobody is really giving him, how would I put it? They're not giving him a chance going forward. And he played well too. So they went toe to toe with that Steeler team. But in the end, the Steelers just know how to keep it close and just pull it out in the end. So yeah, they got it done yesterday. They got it done, unfortunately.
So with Justin Fields, they went back. Aaron Glenn is the head coach, and Aaron Glenn took him back to Ohio State.
Yeah, he did.
Just like you said, there was a lot of RPOs. There was a lot of him on the move. And, of course, having the luxury of Garrett Wilson, who he played with at Ohio State, was something that he needed. That's the Justin Fields that I'm used to seeing with the one that played yesterday, okay? Pittsburgh is Pittsburgh, all right? Now, I will say this. If you look at the majority of the passes that Aaron Rodgers made yesterday, he was on the move. He's not going to be in the pocket. It's only going to take one time for Aaron Rodgers to get touched. Aaron Rodgers ain't really been touched, okay?
No, he
hasn't.
hasn't.
So that's why I'm like, he hasn't been touched yet. Trust me, it's coming. All right. But in terms of a whole, I can't go against the Steelers as much as I don't like the Steelers. You got to be impartial. And the Steelers are going to be a pretty good team. Mike Tomlin is an excellent coach. I don't care what nobody else says or anybody that says anything bad about him. The man can coach. All right. And so he hasn't had a losing record in the time he's been there. All right. Plus, you got DJ Metcalf on the outside. Come on.
Who look good.
All right.
Yeah.
They look good. But I'm just waiting on the time for when Aaron Rodgers step back there and 95 come off the edge and touch him. That's what I'm looking forward to. So, but no, it was a good game. But I like to see I love what Justin Fields did yesterday. That says a lot about his character and about that team. So,
yeah, big bro, did you have an opportunity to watch any of that game yesterday?
Yeah, I did. And, and I'll just keep it real with you guys. I was one, and Lionel, I was one of the ones that was scrutinizing Fields. For years, I was just like, why can't this kid, get it together? I was the one saying, he's a career backup guy. And I said those things. But what I seen yesterday was what I seen in him in Ohio State. I mean, he was sharp, precise, to the point. He was stepping up in the pocket, throwing dimes. He just looked totally different. Like he was just extremely, extremely comfortable in that offense.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yep. Up here in Wisconsin, they've got the Green Bay Packers in the Super Bowl already with the Micah Parsons trade. And I'm going to ask you this, because you guys are great sports minds, all three of you. So I'm interested in your answers to this. Was yesterday Green Bay Packer versus the Detroit Lions game, was that the Micah Parsons effect, according to Tony Romo, who was broadcasting the game? Was it the Green Bay Packers being that good, or was it the Lions who were missing their two coordinators from last year. Their offensive coordinator and their defensive coordinator who have head coaching jobs now.
And those two offensive linemen at the Lions lost too. It was a little bit of everything that what you're saying, L Train, okay? Going forward, Michael Parsons, if he he showed up yesterday, and we knew that's to no surprise. But going forward, he has to leave that cowboy Michael Parsons off the field and just play football. Don't turn on the podcast tomorrow and start talking and this and that and this and that. Because if so, by the middle of the season, he'll been done pissed those players off there. Don't be that Michael Parsons of old. Just play football. Let your play on the field show, minus all the other theatrics and being Hollywood and this and that, and then we'll see, okay? But yesterday, yeah, he showed up, and so did that team. And yeah, you're right. A lot of people are picking Green Bay. They're picking Green Bay because even you said, L Train, they've pushed all their chips to the middle of the table.
Yep.
They're all in. And again, like I say, you all's division, and I'm watching your Vikings warm up right now in front of me on my TV. That's the best division in football, that NFC North, okay? So it's nothing but dogs from top to bottom. Now, Detroit, again, they're not going to be the Detroit of last year, again, minus the two coordinators and those two offensive, linemen, okay? Now, they're no scrubs, so they're going to show up. But, yeah, yesterday was a combination of all of what you saw, all of what you said.
I'm not sold on the Green Bay Packers.
I'm not sold
like
on
that.
Them. L-Train like that, Rod.
I'm not
like
sold
that.
on the Packers.
Hot Rod, I agree with you 1,000%.
They're loaded, Hot Rod. They're loaded. And so is Lionel's team. They're both loaded. They're loaded.
I get it. But and Michael Parsons is a generational talent. But there are good offensive coordinators who can scheme Michael Parsons out of the game.
Yep.
Name me somebody else on that Green Bay defense that has an impact other than Michael Parsons. Right. Yeah. It gets silent. Thank you.
Yeah, silent.
So,
crickets.
You know what I'm saying? So no, it doesn't. And it still falls on the arm of Jordan Love. Okay. Jordan Love's got to step up. Now they put all of it in, but that NFC, they got to win games. Now, Michael Parsons is going to be a factor. I'm not saying that he's not. But when it gets down to the playoffs, teams are going to scheme Michael Parsons. They're going to scheme me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm not sold on them.
Thoughts on those Packers, Greg?
Well, the thoughts on the Packers, man. My opinion on the first couple of games, I think we're going to be able to tell who everybody is probably after the third game. What kind of hurts the NFL right now, they hold these players out, and I keep going back to this. The preseason, these guys don't play. Each team is going to react to that differently. Certain teams can come right out of the gate after not practicing with each other, and look like champions, and others may have a slow start. So Green Bay, you'll tell who they are after about the third game. You can really tell who they are in order for everybody to get a good perspective on them. Right now, I am not really that high on Green Bay. I think they have a lot of good players. They have a good scheme. The coach is good, but I'm just not sold as of yet. I'll probably wait a couple of games in, to see how they react.
Yeah. We'll find out Thursday night.
Yeah, Greg and I remember when in preseason, the starters played all the games in the preseason, all the games in the regular season, and before the preseason, they used to have this little thing called exhibition, they used to play. And so Greg remembers those days, man.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah, we'll find out Thursday.
Doing that now.
No, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. They put a lot of emphasis in joint practices, and obviously joint practices has a lot of benefit, man. But the preseason is kind of a thing now for the third and fourth string guys that are trying to make the team. But it's a lot of interesting things out there, man. That's going to be interesting to watch. The Packers got the Commanders on Thursday Night Football, I believe, so that's going to be a huge test for them. Now, there's been a lot of stuff going on in football, but now we got the football coach, with his two-a-days, Mr. Hot Rod.
You got the whistle, Rod? You got the whistle? Where's the whistle? Blow the whistle. Blow the whistle.
Come on now.
Blow the whistle.
I got
Blow the whistle. Blow the whistle.
Yeah, okay. Who you putting in two-a-days, Hot Rod?
All right, here we go, man. And there are two former Browns, and I had to put them in two-a-days. Number one is Johnny Manziel.
Yeah.
I've seen so
Yeah.
much of Johnny Manziel this week,
Yeah,
it has been
yeah.
nauseating.
Thank you,
Johnny
Rod.
Manziel has
Ripping
been
my
on
city, ripping my city.
He's been just ripping everybody. But I'm here to let it be known. Don't be mad at the Cleveland Browns because you turned out to be a bum. Because you turned out to where you didn't study, you didn't work hard. And we can go back to A&M. You had Mike Evans on the outside. You didn't have to have a hard time winning the Heisman Trophy. But you're not gonna sit there and you're not gonna bash my Browns. You're not gonna do that. Seeing as how garbage filled you were. Okay, so yes, Johnny Manziel is coming to the two. Matter of fact, it's gonna be 3-a-days for him because I know he ain't gonna work hard the first two. Okay.
Yeah.
Those that are in glass houses don't throw rocks, bro. And I'm really upset at the people who are giving him a platform because he sounds ridiculous. Okay. So yes, Johnny Manziel, come on to my 3 days. I got something for you. I might make you a better person. Come on. And then the second one, who tried to piggyback off this guy?
Yeah.
Braylon Edwards.
My God.
Are we serious right now?
Edwards, yeah.
Braylon Edwards, who that 1 year couldn't catch a cold. He led the NFL in drops. Okay? You can't sit there and be critical. You can't be critical of the Cleveland Browns because you stunk up the joint. Stop it. And you can't say you didn't have a good team because you had Kellen Winslow Jr. as your tight end. Derek Anderson was the quarterback back then. You had Jamal Lewis in the backfield. You had Joe Jurevicius on one side. Stop it. Stop it. Don't sit here and try to make it seem like that it was the Cleveland Browns' fault because you sucked. Okay? You make me not like Michigan people. Okay, because you tried to use that as an excuse. Oh, well, the Ohio fans don't like Michigan fans. No, they just didn't like you. Okay, because you were constantly dropping the ball. So Johnny Manziel and Braylon Edwards, y'all both coming to my 3-a-days right there. And I'm gonna leave it just like that. You both are bums, and you trying to feed off the fact that y'all was bums. Stop it.
Love it. I love it. Hot Rod's 2-a-day. And listen, 3-a-days now. We're going to rename the segment to 3-a-days. Listen, man, what just kills me, Hot Rod, you said it best, man. But it's amazing how people think the Cleveland Browns gave Johnny Manziel his shot.
Yeah,
they gave him his shot, and they paid him a lot of money to do it.
Yeah.
They handed him the keys to a franchise and say, hey, be iconic in the city of Cleveland.
Right.
He came in and chose not to work hard, not to study. He admitted that he didn't watch film. He wanted to party all the time. So how are you blaming the Cleveland Browns, man? Explain to me that.
Right. Take ownership for your actions. Take ownership of your own actions.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm really upset with the platforms that are giving him an opportunity to come and spew the garbage. You know, and then not getting anybody who's going to give a different view. Johnny Manziel was nothing. He wasn't. He was a kid who had money, so he didn't need the NFL contract. He was already rich.
Trust fund
and
kid.
Then
Trust fund
he
kid.
didn't. And he didn't work hard. He didn't work hard at A&M, and he didn't work hard in Cleveland. Okay? And once again, you're not going to get up on listen, every time I hear Johnny Manziel, I'm going to find a platform and rebut everything that he's saying. And Braylon Edwards trying to piggyback, Mr. Rubber Hands, Mr. Glass Jaw, stop it, man. Don't sit up here. Don't do that. Don't come after my Browns like that because you will get the venom. And y'all know I'm all about the smoke. So, I hope if they hear it, come on. I got a lot more for Johnny Manziel. Please.
Hot Rods 2-a-days. I love it, man. I love it. Hey, now it's time for, our fans' favorite segment. Start one, bench one, cut run, or race one. Greg, you watch the show. So it's T's turn this week. T is going to throw out 4 things. I mean, it could be anything, man. It could be basketball, hockey. It could be favorite foods, favorite movies, favorite actors. You're going to have to figure out who you want to start, which is your number one ranked player or thing, who you want to bench, who's number 2 in your rankings, who you want to cut, it will be number 3 in your rankings, and who you want to erase, period, will be the last person in your rankings. So It's T's turn today. He's putting his glasses on.
Yep.
Looks like he is ready
to go.
Here we
All
go,
right.
T. What do you got?
Since we're in football season, college football and NFL, we're going to go NFL football and NFL only. And what I'm going to throw out to you guys are best rivalries in NFL football.
That's
rivalries, okay?
Yep.
All right. So the first one, Ravens Steelers. That's the first one.
All right.
Okay. The second one will be those old Redskins, now the Commanders. Commanders, Cowboys, okay?
Okay.
All right. Commanders, Cowboys. Even think back to those days with John Madden on Thanksgiving, okay? Think back to those games. Next one will be Bears, Packers.
Okay.
All right. And last but not least, old AFC West foes. Raiders. And when I think Raiders, I think the old Oakland Raiders and Denver Broncos. Broncos, okay? So that's rivalry. Again, Ravens, Steelers, Commanders, Cowboys, Bears, Packers, and Raiders, Broncos. All right. So there you go. I'll go last. Y'all go.
I'll take it. I'll go first.
Okay.
I'm going to go. It's hard for me, T, to say Ravens Steelers because it's really Browns Steelers. It's really Cleveland Browns Steelers. So that's a tough one for me. But I think out of all the four, you got some really good ones. I'm going to go Bears Packers. I'm going to start Bears Packers. I'm going to bench Raiders Broncos. I am going to cut the Commanders and the Cowboys, and I'm going to erase the Ravens and the Steelers.
Okay.
Start Bears Packers, bench Raiders Broncos, cut Commanders Cowboys, and erase Ravens Steelers.
All right, Hot Rod.
All right, I'm going to start Commanders Cowboys. And I hate saying Commanders because for me it was the Redskins. It was always Washington. It was the Redskins. So, but for show purposes, I will say Commanders. Commanders Cowboys. I will start. I will bench Bears Packers. I will cut Raiders Broncos, and I will erase Ravens Steelers.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Okay.
Much respect for that, Hot Rod. Much respect.
Yep. Greg, what do you got, man?
Gregory Jones.
All right. I'll start the Bears and the Packers. I'll start Bears and the Packers. I will bench one Commanders and the Cowboys. And cut one. I would Raiders and Broncos. Cut one. Yeah, Raiders and Broncos, and I will erase the Ravens and Steelers.
Wow. All right. You know what, fellas? Before I reveal my answers, you can tell all of us are diehard Cleveland Browns fans. And I came up with this scenario just for that reason, okay? Just for that reason. So when I get to the ending, you will know what I'm talking about. I'm going to start Bears Packers, okay? I'm going to start Bears Packers based on the history. I'm going to cut the Raiders Broncos. I'm going to bench the Commanders, and I'm like Rod. I remember the Redskins and the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm going to erase the Ravens and the Steelers because you're right. Before the Ravens were of existence, before they even came on the scene, it was the old turnpike rivalry between the Browns and the Steelers, where they didn't fly into Pittsburgh or fly into Cleveland. They rode the bus, the turnpike rivalry, the Pennsylvania Turnpike to the Ohio Turnpike. There you go. The old turnpike rivalry, Browns, Steelers. I tell people about that all the time. The Ravens are new on the scene. They're new on the scene. So there you go. So you can tell, again, we're all diehard Cleveland fans. This one being in Minnesota, this one being in Wisconsin, that one in Arizona, and me in Virginia. We love the Browns. So there you go. So that's my start one, cut one, bench one, erase one.
Loved it, man. Loved it. That was a good one. That was pretty tough. Other than the erase one, the other three were pretty tough. All right, fellas, let's get to our parting shots. Let's get to our parting shots to end the program. Whoever wants to go first can jump in.
I'll go ahead and go first. I'm going to go with local fellow right here in the 757. Michael Vick got his first win the other night against the Virginia State Trojans. Yeah, they had to come back and win. They were struggling at first, but he was able to put it together and, yield his team to victory. So I'm glad he finally got that off his, that monkey off his back, and now he can focus and play. So best thing last week was Michael Vick and his Norfolk State Spartans beating the Virginia State Trojans 34-31.
Awesome. That's awesome.
And my parting shot will be, I want to send a shout out to the Browns rookies and how they showed up yesterday. It's real hard to be put in that position. I'm talking about Harold Fannin Jr. and those rookies came in and they contributed. And so shout out to them. It makes everything look promising because all of those young kids are just going to get better. So shout out to the Browns rookies.
Yep. My parting shot is visuals is everything, fellas. I think as a little kid, you're always impressionable and you want to see people that look like you in certain positions. So when you grow up, you know that that's obtainable. I don't know if a lot of people realize this, but my parting shot is to the NFL. Yesterday, we had 16 black quarterbacks start in the league yesterday.
Yeah.
That's half of the teams in the league, 16. And when we were growing up, it was all about Doug Williams. That's really all we had to see growing up in terms of being a quarterback in the NFL. To have 16, I mean, we still have a long way to go in the NFL, right. But the fact that we had 16 black quarterbacks starting in the NFL, man, that blew my mind when I saw that stat. So I went and looked it up. And sure enough, man, 16 African-American quarterbacks made their start yesterday in the NFL. I thought that was tremendous. That is my parting shot.
Yeah. Real quick, L Train, who was your earliest memory of a black quarterback? Who was yours?
Doug Williams.
Doug Williams. Okay.
Yep, that was mine.
Okay, because for me it was James Harris of the Rams. Remember him?
Okay.
James Harris of the
Rams. Yep, I remember him.
L.A. Rams. Yep.
Mine was Joe Gillum, who actually should have started for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
Terry Bradshaw says that. Joe Gillum got into some stuff off the field, but Joe Gillum was actually he should have started in Pittsburgh. Yep. Absolutely.
Gillum.
Yep. Greg, who's your earliest memory, man? Black quarterback.
Well, it was pretty much all the guys that you guys named because I was in that era, with Doug Williams and the quarterback for the Rams. My thing is going back to the Cleveland Browns here real quick. How many of you guys remember who the black quarterback was that backed up Brian Sipe in the 1976 season?
Oh, you got me on that one.
The Pittsburgh Steelers knocked Brian Sipe out, and we had a black quarterback at the time who came in and almost won the game for us. And he was with Cleveland for, I think, 3 years.
Yeah.
You got me, big bruh.
Who is that?
His name was Dave Mays.
Dave Mays is the name. I remember the name. I don't have a visual of Dave. Okay.
Yep, Dave Mays.
Wow.
Okay.
He was the fan favorite at Cleveland in 1976.
Wow.
Okay. Man, Greg, you should have texted me that because I would have brought that out.
What'd you say?
You remember where he was from?
I thought he was from North Carolina. I could be wrong on that, but I thought he was from North Carolina.
I'm gonna look him up. Wow.
And I think
Greg, you should have texted me that.
Yeah, and I think Brian Sipe still holds the record for most yardage for a quarterback in Cleveland.
Okay, yeah, I was just about to say you should have texted me that because I would have had that be the mystery Brown of the week next week, and I would have stumped I would have stumped both these.
Yeah, you got all of us, bro.
You got all of us. Yeah.
Well, hey, we're going to wrap this up. Another great edition of Three the Hard Way. Big brother Greg, thanks for joining us. We will definitely have you on the show again. It's not going to be your only appearance. Hey, I'm telling you right now, when the Ohio State-Michigan game comes up, we've got to have Hot Rod's brother on. Okay. All right. And one of the most passionate Cleveland Browns fans that I know, T, is your sister Casey, because we talk Browns all the time. We got to have her on the show.
Oh my goodness! Oh boy!
And this has got to be. Hey, this can't be a one-off. We got to have the siblings on the show, man.
Okay.
We got to do that.
Okay.
Well, thanks,
good.
Greg, for joining us. And again, man, this has been.
Love you, Greg. Love you, man.
Well, man, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's been a blessing.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Love you.
man.
We'll talk soon.
Three the Hard Way. Like and subscribe, man. Let's keep this thing going. And we will see you next week. Go Browns, go. Three the Hard Way. We'll see you when we see you. Later on, fellas.
Y'all be blessed.
Later.
All right, Greg. Later.
All right.